coming saying you were.
Well, I haven't.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay, well I suspect you were.
You suspect I was?
Yes,
So
because I had multiple people come in and say that you were.
So you suspect
and
I was
I
flying
don't
the
think
drone?
they just made that up.
Well, they did. So you suspect,
They did, okay.
So you suspect I was flying the drone and committing an offence?
No, I suspect you were flying the drone.
Yeah.
And also fly a drone, which is not a toy.
Yeah, yeah.
You do require the operator ID, which you haven't disputed. So I just need to see that it is, and it should be stamped on it.
But I don't have to tell you about it.
You do?
No, I don't.
Yes, because I can require to see that.
Under what law?
I just told you it's there.
What section?
Oh, I can look it up.
Yeah, let's have a look.
But I'm not going to, because I'm going to just require this to be. And if you do not, then I may just have to arrest you under that offence.
Well, if you're going to arrest me, then I'll give you it, but I will speak to my solicitor afterwards.
Okay, fine.
Yeah, yeah.
All right. So are you refusing to
No, I'm not
provide
refusing.
that? Okay, fantastic.
Just so you know, I've been through this before.
Yeah, I know.
Last time I got £3,500.
Okay.
Okay, so you still want to go down this route?
So I want to go down the route of proving that you're legally using that drone.
Yeah, I am.
Okay, but you need to show it to us. You need to show that proof that you are legally using
Under
that
what
drone.
law?
Under that law?
This law?
Yeah.
Police powers. ATMAU. AUA, sorry. What does that mean?
On the CAA website as well. I checked that as well.
Air Traffic Management and Unmanned Aircraft Act.
Yeah. And what section?
I don't know what section. Well, we can look it up.
If you've got it, why don't you just show it to us?
So,
fantastic. Cool. Yeah, we need to actually.
we want to jot it down.
We need to see that it's linked to you and not just someone else's drone and just a code on it. We need to
I have given you my details.
So we need to see that you've got an operator's ID.
Yeah.
And that it's the same as the one on the drone.
Yeah.
Okay. And we need to know that that operator's ID that you show us is actually yours and
It
not
doesn't have
just
to be mine. It doesn't have to be mine.
It does. You have to have an operator's ID.
No, I don't.
Yes, you do.
The operator of the person who
operates the drone.
Yeah. So there's a difference between the operator and the flyer. So there's a flyer ID and there's an operator ID.
No, you're operating it.
No.
Yeah, I think we're getting into a semantic argument.
This video is courtesy of News Now Yorkshire. You'll find their link down below. So go show them some support and check out the full clip. News Now Yorkshire is out for a simple walk with his drone. Nothing unusual, nothing disruptive. But members of the public become concerned. Confusion builds around what they're seeing. That reaction draws police attention. A sergeant arrives to assess the situation, but instead of separating concern from fact, he leans into the complaints, treating a lawful activity as something suspicious. The situation shifts into a formal investigation, without clear grounds to support it. What follows highlights a key issue. De-escalation depends on understanding the law, not reacting to pressure or assumption. And without that clarity, the approach quickly falls apart.
Sorry? No, but I just get to be fair.
What?
You allowed to use that?
What do you mean?
And you've got to have an operator's license, haven't you?
Yeah.
Have you got it?
Yeah, of course I have.
You've got an operator's license.
Can you show
Operator's ID, it's called.
Huh?
Operator's ID, it's called.
Yes. You have to show it.
Why?
Because we're going to require it. Is it shown on the drone?
You're going to require it for what?
So if you're flying a drone, which is not a toy, or is over 250 grams, and I suggest that's probably not a toy if it's got a video thing on it.
249 gram.
So is that your? Yeah, but if it's over 250 grams,
which is
not a toy, and I suggest with all that, that's probably not a toy.
Yeah.
So it does have to have an operator's license.
Correct.
So have you got your operator's license and is it stamped on it?
Do you think that I don't have one?
No, it's got to be stamped on it and you've got to be able to show it to us.
Yeah, if you suspect me of a crime.
No, it's on the civil aviation stuff. So if you've got it and you're flying it, then you should be able to demonstrate your operator's ID and have it stamped on that.
And if you suspect me of a crime, then I have to show you.
that is the law.
No, it's not.
It is.
No, it's not.
Yeah.
No.
Should we have a look?
Yeah, let's have a look.
Cool. Fantastic.
Have you got an operator's license?
Yeah, of course I have, yeah.
Cool. All right. It's got to be stamped on it.
Well,
it's got to be shown on.
By you asking for it suggests that you think I've committed an offence.
There we go. There we go. Require under the Air Traffic Management Unmanned Aircraft Act, we the powers require evidence of police pilot competency, operation registration.
Yeah, if you suspect that I've committed an offence.
No.
Yeah.
No. Just if you're flying it.
You can't just take one point out of the legislation.
No. If you're flying it.
I'm not flying it.
That is the no, but you were.
No one.
Oh, we've had multiple people come in saying you were.
Well, I haven't.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I suspect you were.
You suspect I was?
Yes.
So
because I've had multiple people come in and say that you were.
So you suspect
and
I was
I
flying
don't think
the drone?
they just made that up.
Well, they did. So you suspect,
They did, okay.
So you suspect I was flying the drone and committing an offence?
No, I suspect you were flying the drone.
Yeah.
And also fly a drone, which is not a toy.
Yeah, yeah.
You do require the operator ID, which you haven't disputed. So I just need to see that it is. And
Sergeant's demand for the drone operator ID raises immediate questions. He presents it as a routine request, but then claims authority simply because he asked. That's where the issue begins. Requests and legal requirements are not the same. There needs to be a clear basis for compulsion, and that basis isn't explained here. No specific offense is identified. No reasonable suspicion is clearly outlined. Yet the pressure to comply continues. The weight of authority is used instead of clarity, which shifts the interaction in the wrong direction. Because enforcement should be grounded in law, not assumption or uncertainty. And when that foundation is missing, the position becomes difficult to justify.
So I just need to see that it is, and it should be stamped on it.
But I don't have to tell you about it.
You do?
No, I don't.
Yes, because I can require to see that.
Under what law?
I just told you, it's there.
What section?
I know, I can look it up.
Yeah, let's have a look.
But I'm not going to, because I'm going to just require this to be. And if you do not, then I may just have to arrest you under that offence.
Well, if you're going to arrest me, then I'll give you it, but I will speak to my solicitor afterwards.
Fine.
Yeah.
All right. So are you refusing to
No, I'm not
provide
refusing.
that? Okay, fantastic.
Just so you know, I've been through this before.
Yeah, I know.
Last time I got £3,500.
Okay.
Okay, so you still want to go down this route?
So I want to go down the route of proving that you're legally using that drone.
Yeah, I am.
Okay, but you need to show it to us. You need to show that proof that you are legally using
Under
that
what
drone.
law?
Under that law.
This law?
Yeah.
Police powers. ATMAU. AUA, sorry. What does that mean?
On the CAA website as well. I checked that as well. You
Air
are
Traffic
required...
Management and Unmanned Aircraft Act.
Yeah. And what section?
I don't know what section. Well, we can look it up.
If you've got it, why don't you just shout to us?
So,
fantastic. Cool. Yeah, we need to actually
we want it to jot it down.
We need to see that it's linked to you and not just someone else's drone and just a code on it. We need to
I am giving you my details.
So we need to see that you've got an operator's ID.
Yeah.
And that it's the same as the one on the drone.
Yeah.
Okay. And we need to know that that operator's ID that you show us is actually yours and
it
not
doesn't have
just
to be mine. It doesn't have to be mine.
It does. You have to have an operator's ID.
No, I don't.
Yes, you do.
The operator of the person who
operates the drone.
Yeah. So there's a difference between the operator and the flyer. So there's a flyer ID and there's an operator ID.
No, you're operating it.
No.
Yeah, I think we're getting into a semantic argument.
No.
You're operating it.
The operator is the person that owns it.
You're operating it at that point.
The operator is the person that owns it.
No.
Yes.
No. Otherwise, it'd be the owner.
No. Operator is the person that's responsible for the drone, owns the drone, and you have a flyer.
No.
Yes, there's two different things: a flyer ID, operator
Flyer
ID.
ID and operator ID are two separate things.
Exactly.
You're absolutely correct.
The sergeant's reliance on the Air Traffic Management Act quickly unravels because it's not supported by clear facts. Instead, it leans heavily on a third-party complaint. But hearsay alone isn't enough for action. There needs to be an objective basis, a clear reason to suspect an actual offense, and that isn't established here. No specific breach is identified, no defined rule is pointed out, yet the demand for identification continues. That's where the issue becomes obvious. Authority is being asserted without foundation. When challenged, there's no attempt to verify the law, no effort to check the correct section. Instead, the response shifts toward pressure. Even the suggestion of arrest is introduced. But that's a serious step, one that should rely on evidence, not assumption. Using it as leverage highlights the weakness of the position. And it shows how quickly things fall apart.
Exactly. You're absolutely correct.
Yeah.
But an operator ID is from the person who's actually operating the drone at that time.
That's not true.
It's not the same as a flyer ID.
That's not true.
No, it's not. I suggest you read the legislation again, Sergeant. I've seen you on a video.
Am I correct in saying
no, you haven't.
The operator's ID is, so you buy the drone, okay, that drone is yours, so that operator ID is, so say, is this drone yours?
Potentially.
So, okay, for example.
It doesn't have to be.
Okay.
Do you know what I mean?
For this incident, for this story I'm telling, so that drone, let's say that's yours, you have an operator's ID.
Yeah.
Okay, you want to fly that, okay, you then need a flyer's ID.
Yeah.
Sergeant.
If I wanted to go around, if I wanted to then fly your drone, I need a flyer's ID as well.
No, not for this.
Any powers
No.
that you misuse and abuse today.
So I wouldn't need.
If you wanted to fly this drone now, you could fly it because it's got an operator's ID. You don't need a flyer's ID.
Games come out.
I strongly suggest you
Do you know what I mean?
I haven't searched anybody, sir.
Well, I strongly
But
suggest
can you just explain that to yourself? Because I think you understand it now.
Vaguely.
Yeah. So the drone needs an operator's ID, but as the flyer, I don't need a flyer's ID because it's under 249 grams.
So if you have the DJI Mavic Pro, then you'd need a flyer's ID.
If I had a bigger drone.
Yeah. Right, gotcha.
Or solicit him for his details, right? You're wrong, and I suggest you go wild.
I do actually have a flyer's ID because it's free.
Do you have a bigger drone?
No, it's not.
No, but because it was free, it's a bit noisy, so. Because it was free. So the operator's ID is like £9.
Yeah.
£10 a year or something.
I used to have a drone. Like,
Yeah.
So I don't know everything.
Yeah.
But I once did have an operator's ID and a flyer's ID as well.
So you seem a bit nicer then, because it was worrying me a bit, like he was going to arrest me or something. But the flyer's ID, the operator's ID is on the top there, stuck on the top.
This one's your operator's.
This is the operator's ID for this drone.
And the bottom one is the...
No, it's the same thing. So it's one long...
Oh, sorry, yeah.
You know what I mean?
Sorry,
yeah. So that is the drone.
Yeah.
It doesn't need a flyer's ID.
Once the threat of arrest is introduced, the pressure works. News Now Yorkshire provides the operator ID. That should have resolved the issue. But the focus doesn't stop there. The sergeant shifts to questioning the ID itself, specifically whether it's tied directly to the individual. That's where the misunderstanding becomes clear. Operator IDs relate to the registered owner. They're about accountability for the drone, not a direct link to personal identification in that way. Yet the questioning continues regardless, even after the ID has been shown. At that point, the purpose begins to change, from a regulatory check to something less clear. It starts to look like an attempt to justify the earlier approach.
His ID, because it's 249 grams or less.
Yeah.
Right.
No, that's fine.
So if
the legislation is 200, it's got to be 250 grams or less, isn't it? And that's why DJI brought out the 249.
249, yeah.
Right,
and
okay.
just to protect your sergeant, if you go onto Google and put drone Ossick police station, you'll see me in the papers.
Yeah.
Right. I was arrested for this exact same thing.
Okay.
Right. And I was released without charge, and they paid me a lot of money for it. So just protect your sergeant a little bit. You know what I mean?
What?
Are we detained?
Just I know obviously you've spoken to him.
Yeah.
Just have a quick chat. What are your intentions here?
Yeah, we're not detained, no?
No. But we've been called together.
Yeah.
Are you just auditors? You just.
But like I say, we've had.
We'll come here to do a little bit of story, mate.
Come to the station office, which is why regarding that, which is why
That's
we've
it.
come out.
Okay. Do you come here often, or is it?
Never been here before?
But not if we think there's sort of offences around the drone use. It's why I've conversation. But
That's why I asked you
obviously
earlier if you thought I'd committed an offence.
No.
You said no.
But it's like in terms of flying it. Because
I haven't flown it.
And you're saying you haven't flown it.
Yeah,
You're
yeah.
saying also that whatever's happened is you're going now. So that's the end of it. Yeah. But obviously, if you were going to continue or start flying it, as you say you've never flown it, then obviously then we'd start going to things. But you're saying it's done.
What if we fly
dusted.
here? What would you do? What would you want to do?
Well, like I say, we might look at the operator's license and
because I know obviously you picked the bigger one.
No, read that.
Yeah, no.
That's the legislation.
If it's if it is the bigger one.
Yeah.
No. If
what's the
drones being flown?
What's the legislation with
it should have
flying it near building?
Which is shown is already on it.
So
What's that?
above 250
This
grams.
is just a question now.
I believe it's 150 metres residential.
Yeah.
Have you read this?
Random numbers stuck on it, obviously.
Carry on talking.
So this is for sub 250. So this is for my type of drone.
Yeah, that's right. I completely understand this bit.
Above, so it has to have an operator's ID.
Yeah.
It's a strong example of a calculated move. NNY prompts the second officer to step in, giving him a chance to reset the situation and pull his colleague back before it escalates further. That moment highlights a key reality. Detaining someone without solid grounds is risky. It can quickly turn into a serious issue for the force. The stakes are higher than they appear. But the sergeant stays focused on personal details he hasn't clearly justified asking for. And that's where the problem lies. Reasonable suspicion isn't optional. It has to be based on something concrete, A specific rule or breach must be identified. Without that, the entire approach becomes unstable.
We're good. Required airspace has been checked.
Yeah.
So we're clear. All Sierra rules being followed. We're all good, man. There's no separation between uninvolved people because it's sub 250.
Yeah.
You know, we're fully good. We're fully good to fly, right? But if it's above 250, then you've got 150 meters away from buildings, 50 meters from people, uninvolved people. So like me and my friend, if we was together, we knew we was flying a drone, I could fly over him.
Yeah.
But these people just walking down the street, you won't be able to.
Gotcha. Yeah, it's been a long time since I've had my drone, so I used to have the DJI Mavic Pro 2.
All right, okay.
But it's been a while since I've had it. So, and you're not using that for commercial?
Why would that matter? Because you need insurance.
Yeah.
Which I have.
Okay. Cool. I'm just clarifying.
Yeah. Okay. But it's not commercial. It's social media. The insurance companies actually said you don't need it for social media. There was a bit of a debate, but I just got it just to be on the safe side.
But you're not getting paid, are you? At what point does it? Because then don't you need a commercial license?
Because I think, well, from what the insurance company told us, right? I mean, there's a bit of a debate with it, and you guys might say something different. But what they told us, and to be on the safe side, I just got the insurance anyway. But what they told us is, unless you're like contracted, so like if you said to me, I want you to come to my house, take some pictures of my house, and we had a contract, there was an agreement of payment, that would be a commercial flight. But they said because you're just flying, you put the stuff onto YouTube and then it generates ad revenue.
Yeah.
It's not technically.
That's different.
Yeah. That's what they said.
Yeah.
But they might be wrong.
But if you actively said, look, I'm going to do some work for you with my drone, I want X amount for this video.
Exactly that. And there's a contract in place. Yeah.
Gotcha. And you've got insurance that covers you that if your drone was to hit someone.
So I've got third party insurance.
So you'd be fine for that.
Yeah. It's actually I've got 2 lots of insurance.
Yeah.
So I've got like.
The sergeant gets stuck repeating the same demand. Credentials again and again without clear justification. But his authority depends on one key thing. A provable violation he can actually point to. And that's exactly what's missing here. There's no clear breach identified at any stage. It feels like the decision was made early, before properly assessing the situation. Instead of starting with questions, they led with pressure, which sets the wrong tone from the beginning. A public interaction should start with clarity, not assumptions or prejudgment. When a supervisor can't reference the rule he's enforcing, it weakens the entire position and makes the situation harder to defend.
So I've got like damage cover.
To the drone?
Yeah. And I have third-party insurance.
Which covers
and it has to be,
other things.
And I can't remember the code, but there's a certain, like British standards?
Yeah.
It's not that, but there's something similar and it's got to be to this standard.
Right, okay.
You can't just get any type of insurance. I can't remember the number now, but there's a certain number you have to get. Can't for life of me think of it.
That's right.
But yeah, there's a certain number you have to get. It might be like L720 or something like that. But you have to have that type of insurance for it to be covered for commercial flights.
Right, okay.
And I think it has to be a certain amount of money as well. It's like $500,000 or $1 million or something, third party cover. Yeah.
The bit that he pointed out where the operator's ID has to be the person using it.
Yeah, we've bottomed that out.
You bottomed it out,
Yeah, but it doesn't have to be.
There you go.
Yeah, but it's got to be the person who does control the drone.
No.
As in, the owner of the
are you
drone
on
has got to have an operator ID.
Are you on
Correct.
yes?
Yes.
Correct.
Which is
Am
what
I?
the point
But that doesn't have to be me.
which is you clarify the point. But we should then still be able to. But we still would need to confirm that operator ID is valid and linked to an actual person who's the operator rather than just some.
But I don't have to tell you who the operator is.
But we would need to confirm that drone.
And how would you confirm that?
Well,
unless I told you who owns the drone.
Well,
because it's just a code.
Yeah. So we would, because how would otherwise I would know that you've not just written some random digits on a bit of paper?
That's why, if you suspect me of an offence,
which would be flying the drone without an operator's ID.
Do you suspect that though?
Well, actually, I actually don't, because I think you generally wouldn't be silly enough to do it, and you show me there is a code on it.
Yeah.
But of course, how can I?
But you would also have to have reasonable suspicion. For instance,
the fact that you're not confirming
I'm
that
walking
code is valid.
I'm walking down the street.
Or allow me to
I'm
see
walking
it
down the street. I could have a weapon in my pocket.
Yeah.
Right.
There's a whole
you don't know.
thing.
You don't know unless you search me.
Yeah, but
no. Let me finish, sir.
But he did the same example earlier, and I said actually that's a bad.
Not everyone sticks strictly to the law, and that point comes up here. The sergeant flips the logic in a flawed way. He suggests that refusing to give ID creates suspicion, as if non-cooperation becomes the reason to act. But that's not how the legal framework works. Suspicion has to come first. It must be based on a specific possible offense. Only then can further steps be justified. Here, that order is reversed. The absence of cooperation is treated as proof, which isn't a valid foundation at all. News Now Yorkshire challenges this directly, showing that rights can't be turned into suspicion. You can't create legal grounds out of refusal alone. And once that becomes clear, the position falls apart.
Bad example.
It's a very good
more
example.
Like the example of someone driving along.
No, because there's legislation.
As
in 163.
But as an equivalent thing,
yeah,
you're using a piece of machinery which should be registered.
Yeah.
Okay.
Correct.
And I just want to check that the registration is valid.
And unless you suspect me of an offence, you cannot ask me to land it, and you cannot ask for the operator's ID. Those are the two things you cannot do.
I didn't ask you to land it.
I know you didn't,
yeah.
but I'm just saying those are the two things you can't do.
But I should
unless
be able
you
to
suspect
check
me of an offence.
Operator is valid.
If you suspect me of an offence?
No, because otherwise, how can I check that operator ID is valid? And if you won't show the operator ID is valid, then I can potentially suspect it's just a false operator ID.
Yeah.
We got anyone able
You see?
Yeah, yeah.
So me asking, it's like me stopping a driver on the road and going, can I see your driver licence? And they go, I've got one, but I'm not going to show you it.
But section 163 of the Road Traffic Act
and I
says that they have to show you the ID.
I appreciate it gives you specific powers.
Exactly.
But it's the same with this new legislation around the flying of the drones.
So there's two things there, right? Either I'm wrong and you're right, and you don't know the legislation, then you shouldn't come out, or I'm right and you're wrong, and you don't know the legislation and you shouldn't come out.
Okay.
Do you see what I mean?
So I think you've deliberately goaded people. Because,
No.
Yeah, because we had a lot of complaints. We had multiple people coming to the station.
And not one of you said, hello, what's going on? Are you okay?
I came along after
you came out,
talking to people.
mate, you came out in force.
No,
you came out in force, started talking about maybe arresting me.
No, that
potentially.
was later on in the conversation.
It was what, sorry?
That was later on in the conversation
Oh,
when I was
really?
saying I couldn't confirm that their ID is correct, which I still can't, but you said that you finished and you're going to move on. So I don't feel I need to sort of...
I didn't say I was finished, I was going to move on.
He did, sorry.
He did, okay. Right. Do you have an issue with me flying the drone?
Yes.
What's the issue?
If I can't confirm the operator ID is correct and valid.
Right, okay. And what legislation says that you can confirm that?
Next young man has got a drone, and he used to have a drone, and what I was telling you, ask him, I'm right, what I was saying to you.
And what
so
about...
if I'm flying my drone now, and you see it, you can't just come up to me and you're entitled